I'm not a doctor. I don't even play one on TV. But if I were tasked with coming up with a thesis that made use of all of my decades of experience, my research, my deep dives, my conversations, the anecdotal evidence on any topic, for sure, it would be the frustrations of being an action figure collector. And I'm sure a lot of you can relate to these. And I thought I could probably write 50, maybe narrow it down to 30. I decided let's just pare it all the way down to a top 10. I'm not ranking these. One could be number 10, depending on the date. We'll see what happens, but I'm sure a lot of you can relate to these. Maybe share a few that I forgot to cover and mention in this one. But let's break it down. Let's see where we all stand. The top 10 biggest frustrations of being a figure collector coming at you right now. What's up, everybody? It's Jeffrey Lyles, welcoming you to another edition of Lyles Figure Files. And let's get into it. No need for a big dramatic buildup. My top 10 frustrations of being an action figure collector. Number one, and this is one I'm sure you can all relate to, dust. Dust is such a major problem because you've got these really cool, elaborate displays. You've got your figures all arranged just so. Then you start looking at the shelf and it's like, gosh, what was the last time I dusted this thing? Because it's starting to make it look a little bad. You've got that ashy white of dust covered around all your really cool displays. You got your setups, you got your dioramas, and it's like, I really need to do this. But then there's the big debate. Do I take the finger approach where I'm just carefully edging around the figures, getting the dust off, or I'm going to go at full cleaning, a full dusting. I'm taking everything off the shelf and setting them down. Got the pledge or whatever. I've got the little rag, the old t-shirt, and I'm slowly going through and bam, good as new. It's great. It looks awesome. And of course, 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, it's all there all over again. And one of the problems with taking everything down is another thing on the list, of course, I'm going to mention. So I'll get to that in a second. But the dusting situation is just a never ending cycle that continues over and over. And maybe you've got a bunch of detail shelves where you can kind of fight this off, where the dust is restrained by a cabinet, a glass door. But if you didn't go to IKEA when they were selling them at a reasonable rate, now you've got to pay so much. And if you just want to have some free floating shelves like behind me, the dust on them is insane. It's crazy. And it's like, gosh, why did I decide to do it this way? So dust for sure is a problem. And I'm just going to keep going with that theme. One of my biggest problems, and this is one that has no time period. It is not limited to, okay, these are the working hours. So when it happens, no problem. Sometimes it happens in the middle of the night. Of course, I'm talking about shelf divers, and not just the ones that want to just tip over politely and fall to the floor. I'm talking about those ones who want to fall and go Geronimo and take out 18 other figures. And you're trying to figure plane, CSI. You're looking at all the evidence. How did this one figure manage to fall backwards and then take out the shelf and then fall over and tumble and take out 4 more shelves on his way to the ground? How is that even possible? And it's always, I try to do this thing of which figure fell first, because that's the one you need to make sure you got stabilized. So when you spend another 20, 30 minutes reconfiguring the shelf, then it doesn't happen all over again. So that is a major problem. I've had some figures fall, and even though I have a carpeted ground floor for them to topple onto, they still manage to break. And when it's not the figure that started all this catastrophe, it's even worse because it's like you caused the nose on this penguin figure to break. What's wrong with you? And it's always this big frustration of like, all right, I'm going to trust that you will not fall. And of course, that means, well, how dynamic am I going to make the posing on my shelf? I don't want to have a really great Spider-Man setup where he's all, and then he's taking over people every night. Of course, no decency. You won't do it at 9 o'clock at night while you're still up. It's like 3 a.m. It's, honey, what was that noise? I think it was probably just Ben Grimm toppling over. So That's certainly a big major frustration for me, and I'm sure you all can relate on that one too. Another one, street dates. When you get excited, you go to, and this is normally a Target issue, you go to the store, you go to the shelf, and I'm not talking about the boxes that have that big orange tape wrapped around it, which clearly states do not put this on the shelf before insert date here. I'm talking about when the employee has said, yeah, whatever, they've opened it up, put them on the shelves, and you're like, score. I found it. I can have Instagram bragging rights. I was the first one to find this figure. And it's not just that thing of like, oh, cool, I found this figure I was looking for. It's the time and effort because I'm sure I'm not the only one. Okay, this one, the paint job is just a little bit off. This one here is the perfect figure. You go off to the register happy because you're like, I finally got this. There's no chase needed here. I've got it. I'm done. The hunt is over, only to get that street dated sign pop up where the clerk goes, the cashier is going, sorry, sir, I can't sell this to you because you've got to come back tomorrow to get it. And it makes no sense because it's like they don't do a hold. All right, come back tomorrow, we'll get it. I'll prepay for it. Just hold it. No, it is. They snatch it from you like you're some desperate thief and who won't just put it back on the aisle. They go, all right, well, sorry. And it just vanishes. And that's it. I can't stand street dates because there's no real purpose to it. And then you go online and somebody else will go, hey, I saw this figure and it was street dated, but the manager let me have it. It's like, gosh. So I just got the wrong manager date. So it's an issue. It's a frustration, especially when you found the perfect paint job and then the next one that you find isn't quite as great. So street dates, dust, shelf diver dominoes, certainly big issues for me with my collection, and I'm sure also an issue for you too. Next up, swappies. It's when somebody decides this figure is great, but I don't want to pay $25 for it. Instead, I am going to put a totally different figure in here, and knowing that the Target, the Walmart, etc., associates will not care, will not even notice, I'm going to put a totally different figure in here. Here's a few examples of some of the most egregious swaps where it's just like, are you guys not even remotely caring about what's going on? I understand where it's like oh man, they swapped out the elite Hulk Hogan and put in a basic. I'm talking about instead of Hulk Hogan, we've got, I'm gonna say John Cena, we've got Homer Simpson in there. It's like, come on, you've got to see and got to know at least the difference between Hulk Hogan and Homer Simpson, and maybe even Hulk Smash instead of Hulk Hogan. One's the Orange Goblin, the other's the Green Menace. What are you all doing? So I can't stand that, especially when it's like they put all this time and effort into the swap where it's not just some random tail deal. It's just I'm making this look nice and clean. I've taped it up perfectly. And it's just like, can someone just look at these figures and say, this is not this? What is happening? What's going on? Can't stand that, especially when you're trying to find that figure that's been swapped out. You go down the aisle and you see the side packaging, it's like, yes, it's here. And it's like, come on, why is this even on the shelf anymore? Target associate, Walmart associate, this is not the figure. You come back 2 weeks later and it's back on the shelf and the swap figure is still there. It's like, it's not even worth it. So, certainly a major frustration for me. Maybe it's one for you as well. Another one for sure are the scalpers. Not just the scalpers online where they're trying to charge 8 times as much as something. Talking about the scalpers in your area when they post, and it's like, come on, man. You don't need to buy 6 of these figures for your friends. It's like, oh gosh. So we've seen this, and they're like happy gloating, like, I've got these 3 to trade, 2 more to keep MOC, 7 more just for my friends who need it. And we're just like, oh, you went to Ollie's to try to take this $5 figure and sell it on Amazon or eBay for 45 and hope somebody in some other area has not seen it. It's like 45 sounds like a deal to me. So can't stand that with the scalpers going nuts and going, time to get paid. Can't stand that. So that's a big one, a major one for me. And then another one, And I think right now I've done one, two, three, four, five. This is number 6 on the list. Pre-order sellouts. I don't even understand how that works, how that makes sense. Sure, if it's a limited edition run, okay, all right, you got to sell it out. But we see it all the time with some of our favorite lines: Marvel Legends, G.I. Joe Classified Series, Transformers, Star Wars, you name it. It's here and it's sold out. And then later on, after that panic of, oh no, I've missed it. Where do I go now to get this figure I really wanted? Fast forward 6 months later, they can't sell it any faster. It's like, please take it. We're throwing it away. Here, take it on clearance. Buy it at Ollie's. And it's like, why did I ever worry about this thing being sold out? I always feel like the pre-orders sellouts make no sense. Just keep making more, allocating more stock. You don't need to tell us, oh man, the figures that were slated for September, they're sold out. Just keep the pre-order window open till it comes, and then people will go, okay, just keep adjusting the date. All right, for the ones of you who ordered with that first initial stock, all right, now it is coming in September. For those of you who ordered after it, maybe you'll get it in October or December, but just having pre-order sellouts makes absolutely no sense to me. Another one, and we just saw this recently with Phoenix, with the Studio Series 86 Optimus Prime. When there is a big major sale at a store or a website, is great, I'm cashing in all that patience. Now I want all these figures. And it's like, no, 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 no. We're not putting these figures up. They're sold out. And it's like, you didn't have them on the website until today. How are they sold out already? That's a real big frustration because it seems like it should be plenty. You should have the full stock of these things. Did someone already come by and take all 6, buy the full case out the second the store opened? It doesn't make any sense. And now you see people are getting hip. They're buying it online and then doing the in-store pickup, and it's a problem. And then if you happen to get through that first wave, then it's like, oh, sorry, it's out of stock. We'll ship it to you. And maybe it'll arrive, or maybe a few days later, it's canceled. Sorry. So hopefully we'll get this straight, but a real frustration when the stores have these big sales. I'm not just talking about the stuff that's languished on the websites, on the pegs for months and months. I'm talking about that new stuff where it hadn't even gotten a chance to sell out and it's already gone, nowhere to be found. It's not in the back. They looked all over. It's not on the website. It's just anarchy and craziness with the inventory. So for sure, something I know you all have dealt with, and it's a really big frustration for us as action figure collectors. Next up, let's see where do I want to go with this. Oh yes, when you finally track down that figure you have been looking for months and months, it's sold out a long time ago. You find an auction that's not that bad. Maybe it's $20, $30 more than it was at retail, but it's like, I need this figure. I'm buying it right now. I'm going to buy it. And it arrives and it's like, oh, this figure is so cool. It's what I wanted. I'm so happy to finally get it. And then on the next live stream, we've got a new and improved version of that figure that you just bought. And it's so much better than the last one. And we've got plenty in stock. You won't even have to worry about it selling out. And you're looking at that figure that you spent all that time trying to acquire on eBay stalking. And it's like, you're now worthless to me because this one looks so much better. And then it's like, why did I do that to myself? So for sure, that one is a big one. The upgrade after you spent all this time trying to track down the now inferior model of that figure that you wanted for so many months. And then speaking of the weight, there is a figure that you've had on your wish list. You've been posting on the comment section or your favorite YouTubers, your favorite boards, the live chats on Hasbro for all of their various brands. And you finally see the news. This figure is coming. And they're talking about it. They're getting y'all hyped up. And you're like, yes, I can't wait to see this figure. It's been on the leaked list. Let's see it. And it's the wrong costume. And you're like, no, no, no. Why? And it is some awkward, nonsensical character choice, costume choice, where it's like, you've done 8 members of this team. Why now are you doing the costume version 3 that doesn't work with the rest of the team that you put together already? It's like, hey guys, we're starting a new team. So that one certainly infuriating. Hello, giant size Banshee. We're still waiting for you to join the rest of the team on our giant size X-Men display. But here's hoping we'll finally see him taking off soon. And my last one, and I've gone through so many so fast. I know this one is one you all can relate to for sure. No space. You've been buying all these figures for all this time, and it's like, where am I inserting this figure? How do they even fit on the displays all over around me? Behind me, you can see space is becoming packed in a premium. And there's so many more figures you still want to get, but it's like, it's going to be time to start paring down. And then it's what do I do with these old figures? What do I do with this figure that was so hard to get? And now it's time to replace them because they've done so many better upgrades to these old figures. It's time to swap them out. Do I trade them? I need to figure out, can I insert some more wall shelves? Do I have room for another detolf along the wall? It's always the question. How do I get more space with my collection? So those are mine. I'm gonna run through them one more time. Dust, the street dates, scalpers on the hunt in your area, swappers, the domino shelf divers, the pre-order sellouts, the big sale when absolutely nothing is in stock to buy, the no space debacle, finally tracking down those hard to find figures. And then an update, a far superior update gets revealed. And then finally, the figure you've been jonesing for, you've been waiting on for so many months, even years. And then they roll it out in the wrong costume, the wrong look, is not compatible with anything else that you've been patiently waiting to place on your display. Let me know what you all think. What are your top 10 biggest frustrations of being a collector? What are some things that's just like, why can't this ever get fixed? And I'm, of course, I'm going to swing back and go with some of the best things, the best aspects of being a figure collector. But I want to hear your thoughts on the biggest frustrations of being a collector. So let me know in the comments. As always, thank you so much for watching. This episode of Lyle's Figure Files has been filed.